What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about where the heck was Harry Potter Magic Awakened again. Now, I made quite a few videos on this game. I made it back when they first had basically leaked, when this game had leaked, and a lot of people were talking about it. And I talked about it right after that Game Awards, and I said, where was Harry Potter Magic Awakened? And leading into E3, I made several videos talking about how I truly believe this was the E3 for either a Harry Potter game, Harry Potter Magic Awakened, or a new Batman Arkham game from Warner Brothers Montreal. And we went, E3 came and went, and there was nothing. And I kind of want to talk about how that is honestly hugely disappointing and what that means for Harry Potter. Because here's the thing, they missed it again. And more frustrating than anything is the amount of time in between the leak and when this game is actually going to be announced. Now, Harry Potter and this studio in general, even Warner Brothers as a publisher, they are big enough to honestly be able to announce Harry Potter whenever they feel like it. They could just have a trailer release one random Wednesday, let's say, and say Harry Potter Magic Awakened and have the gameplay, have a trailer, whatever. They can do that. They are big enough, and this is a franchise with Harry Potter big enough to carry itself. You don't need E3, but E3 is kind of that public eye view, right? It's where the big corporations are all looking at what's the future of gaming. And while a lot of people, even Sony has kind of pulled out of that and said, you know what, it really is just for the big corporations. It's not really for the consumer. And I do agree with that. But at the same time, E3 is a really good opportunity to first announce your game. And this E3 came and went. If you guys didn't watch my video yesterday, I talked about how I believe this is the worst E3 ever. In terms of big announcements, in terms of just, actual surprises, we got next to nothing. And what we did get was games we already knew about and really just a lot of delays. I mean, Dying Light, Animal Crossing, Watch Dogs, all these games got delayed from the fall and now into next year. So this E3 I think really sucked, and part of the reason why is that there were no surprises, no Harry Potter. But what does this mean for the game? Well, I said it back, I believe, right after the Game Awards, in that this is a very bad look, I believe. You normally don't want your leak to come out and have a huge amount of time in between before you end up talking about it. I think that just makes you look bad, and it makes it be like, well, you're not confirming nor denying anything in that in-between time. You look at Ubisoft literally gets every major game of theirs leaked about a week or two before the game comes out. We kind of knew a Watch Dogs was coming this year once they said there was no AC, but at the same time, we didn't know much about it. Then when we got a major leak within a few weeks, Ubisoft literally just said, Watch Dogs Legion, it's going to be at E3. They do the same thing with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed gets leaked, or Call of Duty gets leaked, and within a few weeks, the game kind of just puts itself out there. The publisher just puts itself out there and says, well, you know what? People already know about this game. It's already been floating around. Let's formally announce it. And that looks good, I feel like, because if you have a leak come out, like Harry Potter did back in literally October or November, I think it was October. You have it come out in October, and then you have all of these months. It's going to probably be over a year. By the time, before we end up getting the official announcement, it'll be over a year, I think. And all that time, it's like, well, they took down videos on YouTube of people talking about it or showing that leaked footage. It's clearly real. We know so much about this game, rumored, I guess, of what this game is going to be about, but we know so much, and it's like, and they took things down, which basically means that it was confirmed, and you just kind of let it pass. You kind of let it be out there where it's like, well, we know there's this Harry Potter RPG. You play as a fifth-year Hogwarts student. You get to, go to classes, and it's a huge RPG at Hogwarts. You let that be out in the public, but you don't deny it. You don't say, oh, no, the studio, it's closed. It's not working on anything. No, we know the studio exists. We know they're making a game, and now we kind of know that this is the game they're making. We also know all these things about the game, but instead of denying it, instead of confirming, instead of saying, you know what, it was majorly leaked, everybody was talking about it, here it is, here's the game. And they had two really big chances to do that at the Game Awards and now at E3. And you could have even connected it to Fantastic Beasts 2. Fantastic Beasts 2 came out in November. People thought they were going to announce that game around November to kind of coincide with it too. So it's like, all right, you don't do it. Now, could this be an example of a game I've talked about a lot on the channel, especially leading up to E3? Is this an example of a game that doesn't get talked about because it's very clearly being made for next gen, and you can't really talk about those games until Sony and Microsoft talk and announce more? Is that possible? Well, I think a game like a BioShock 4, I feel like that's what that game is waiting for. I feel like maybe the next Rocksteady game. They've been very silent on their next game. They keep saying they're not going to these conferences or conventions before before they go into it, maybe their game is next gen. I feel like that game has to be next gen at this point. But you have all these games, and there's a lot of rumored really big games in development, like sequels to established games that we already know of, and we kind of know that they're being made, but it's like, well, you can't really talk about them yet because they're on PS5, they're on Xbox 2, you know, or in the next Xbox, whatever, and you can't really talk about it until Microsoft and Sony does. Is Harry Potter one of those games? I feel like it wasn't. When it was first leaked, I think people really thought that it was so far in development that this could be a 2019 game. At this point, absolutely not. At this point, I really do believe it's either a fall 2020 game or spring 2021, which puts it on next generation consoles. Now, what does that mean? Could this game be announced at the Game Awards 2019? I think that is really the next big one, obviously. I mean, it could be a Game Informer. It could just be a Game Informer cover of September, and that's how they can announce it, and whatever. That's cool. That's fine. But Warner Bros. Does have a history of announcing games at the Game Awards, which I've talked about in the past. Batman Arkham City was announced in the Game Awards all the way back then, so it's very, very possible they could come back to announce Harry Potter. It just doesn't look good, and honestly, it's a little bit maddening where I honestly went into E3 this year and was expecting a Warner Bros. Announcement. Now, I know they are the publisher for CD Projekt Red, who's the developer of Cyberpunk, so they were at E3 in a really, really big way. Cyberpunk has taken away so many awards, or taken home so many awards for like game of the show. It obviously got a release date. It looked amazing. Keanu Reeves, all that stuff. So Warner Bros. Was there, and they did have their hands full. They did, you know, they had a really, really big game, and a game that obviously looks absolutely amazing. But at the same time, they have so many studios. They have 10 plus studios, and it's like, you know, can another one of you guys actually do something? And you know, CD Projekt Red isn't even owned by them. They just are the publisher for them. Warner Bros. Has their own gaming development studios that really are the quietest but the most leaked studios in the entire world. We know that Warner Bros. Montreal is working on 2 AAA games. One of them is most likely a Batman Arkham game. The other one, nobody really knows. But there's all these leaks, all these rumors for those games, and nothing comes out. They just stay quiet, and I think it just makes you look bad. I mean, this Harry Potter game, I'm not saying the Harry Potter game is going to be bad. I think this Harry Potter game is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for it. I want to see it. I want to play it. I want to cover it. I think it's honestly going to be a Game of the Year contender immediately, because this is, you know, Harry Potter is such a powerful franchise, and I think a game like this, an RPG, is something that I've always wanted. I've always talked about maybe how I want kind of like a Pirates game, a Pirates of the Caribbean like RPG game, and I think Skull and Bones, if you mix that with Sea of Thieves and you mix that with Assassin's Creed, you may get it. But this is a Harry Potter world game that's going to be kind of exactly what I want, you know, like a Witcher or a big open world RPG game, but set in a Harry Potter universe. And if done right, it could be one of the best games, not just the year, but in the console generation or of all time. I truly do believe that. It's just annoying when we know all these things about this game, and it just keeps, you know, it's just lingering. It's just out there, and people have reported on it, and nothing comes out of it. You know, nobody's saying anything about it. And here we are, literally almost a year since we learned about this game, through the rumor, through the grapevine, and we've still heard nothing about it. So guys, let me know in the comments below, were you expecting this? I don't think I'm the only one. I think there was a lot of people expecting this game to hopefully, you know, I think there's a lot of expectations that this game could hopefully be announced at E3, but let me know in the comments below if you guys were one of them. Did you think we were going to get an announcement for Harry Potter Magic Awakened? And when do you think it's now going to get announced? Again, I'm going to put my money right now on the Game Awards 2019. I'm just going to move it to the next big conference of the year. That's when I think it could just come out in between. But let me know when you guys think it's going to be announced. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Make sure you guys hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And there's videos that go up on this channel every single day, and you can bet your bottom dollar when Harry Potter does get announced, we will be covering it to death, as well as when the game actually does get released. We'll be playing it, we'll be covering it, all that stuff. So you guys like that game, and you like, you know, what you've heard of that game, make sure you stay tuned to the channel. I try to update you guys and talk about this game quite often on the channel. So if you guys like that, make sure you follow along. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.